Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be looking into the question, what do they cherish most about you? There are 4 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the pink opal. Group 2 is the Iolite. Group 3 is the Citrine. And group 4 is the Aqua Obsidian. So let me hold these up a little closer to the camera for just a minute if you want to take a look at those to help you decide better whichever group is calling to you the most, or maybe multiple groups. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you would like to jump ahead. Hi, group 1. You chose the pink opal. So I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, and let's see, what does this person cherish most about you? Okay, we have healing the heart, power of self-love, power over difficulty, reclaiming your power, Sif, free spirit, fertility, leap of faith, Abnoba, wilderness, wild woman, wildling, Direction Guardian, choose your path, and Heart Guardian, love and let yourself be loved. So this person definitely cherishes the fact that you have kept your heart open despite all the difficulties that you have been through. Things that they are aware of or even are just able to sense energetically that have occurred to you in the past that for many people would have caused them to close down, to become skeptical and guarded and just very pessimistic. You, on the other hand, have become more loving, more generous of spirit, more generous of heart. It's almost like the trials and tribulations that you've been through, maybe in romance or, things having to do with love and other aspects of your life, very heartbreaking experiences. These have actually been things that have strengthened you, or you have used these difficulties, this adversarial energy to your advantage. They really cherish the fact that you are in many ways and perhaps on many different levels and several times are the embodiment of the phoenix from the ashes. They see you in this very courageous energy that you have made certain sacrifices in order to free yourself from the dark cloud of pessimism that certain experiences had given to you, that at one point might have been looming over you, or again, for most people under the circumstances of maybe what you have been through, it would have been a very kind of like a crushing defeat. On the contrary, though, for you, it's almost like the heat and the pressure and the disappointment of certain experiences has been exactly what has been necessary for the best of you to really come forth and shine into the world. With that being said, this person really cherishes that fact about you, in conjunction with the fact that they see you as somebody that, with you by their side, they could handle any challenges. They feel that their heart is safe with you, precisely because you know very intimately what love is not. You have had a lot of experiences of kind of the darker side of life, romance, love, partnerships, and it's something that again has made you more aware of the feelings of other people, more tender with yourself, more giving, more loving, more compassionate. They feel that rather than a lot of individuals who would sort of fall into the cliche of sort of like hurt people, you instead fall into this category of like, hurt people have healed themselves and then go and heal other people. So they see you as somebody very triumphant. You have mastered yourself on many levels. You have mastered certain circumstances and situations in your life. If this is something where you don't know each other well enough yet, or maybe you just haven't opened up about certain things, they sense this within your energy. There's a lot of loss, but also a lot of having reinvented oneself. There's a sense that you have been many different versions of you across the course of your lifetime. And with that is this sense of you're not weighed down or burdened by these things. You have kind of like reclaimed your power. You move with optimism. You move with openness. You move with joy. You have a keen sense of direction, a keen sense of self. They see you as somebody very much in alignment or working to come into alignment on an active basis with your higher calling, with your purpose, maybe something having to do with, kind of helping to create more love in the world by becoming that love that you are seeking and that the world needs. You may be a healer on some level, or even if you're not directly like in the healing profession, you just have a very healing presence. You have a lot of words of wisdom through experiences that you've been through, and also this sense of having had to reclaim your power in some way and opening up and tapping into kind of this heart-centered knowing and awareness that even in very mundane matters, you have this ability to make other people feel at ease, to make the lost and make the confused that you encounter a little more certain. You gift people clarity just through your presence, just through very simple interactions with you. It doesn't need to be anything of a very complex and spiritual nature. And this is something that this person has observed. Maybe they have directly participated in, maybe they have experienced and partaken of this kind of exchange with you, these heart-to-heart conversations that have really opened their eyes to new perspectives, new ways of being, clarity about certain difficulties or darkness that had been weighing them down, maybe even things that have been deeply entrenched. And they cherish you for that. For a lot of you, there's been a heart chakra activation, maybe very mutually experienced, or at the least that you've triggered within this individual. You have helped them to start to see the world through the eyes of love again. And this is something that they deeply cherish about you. It almost feels like prior to meeting you, they were wandering very directionless, very confused, very kind of alone, very closed off or closed into themselves. They may have lost faith in the idea of love. They may have even tried to convince themselves that love wasn't real, that it was just a matter of chemistry and nothing more than that. You have opened their eyes to kind of the force, the divine aspect of love. Love as a power, love as a consciousness, love as an entity that one can embody very fully, and they see you as that. It's a very miraculous energy here, where you've awakened something, you've renewed something, you've given this person hope just in watching you move through the world, and in whatever they are aware of kind of your process of needing to sort of pick your pieces back up, maybe at least once or several times, and like each time you've reformed and refashioned yourself. You put yourself together better than you were when you were kind of broken apart, or just kind of left in this personal darkness in some sort of manner. And what they know of that, it's something that they really they cherish any kind of input, any kind of guidance, any kind of wisdom that you have to give to them, because they see you as somebody who is very much an expert at learning to love themselves through even the most difficult circumstances, again and again, however many times necessary, to keep coming back home to self, to rebuild, to start over, to improve, and to push for more. If it's something that they aren't aware of your history and your backstory, again, it's very evident in your energy. This person may be, an empath who has been just moving through their life very overwhelmed, very confused, needing to kind of shut down that heart space in a way to almost protect themselves from energetic overload. In some way, there's a freedom about you. You have let your light out. And this is something that they cherish this about you, that you give them hope and inspiration of a new way of moving through the world, more in their authenticity, more in this kind of like shameless luminosity, shining bright for all to see. You have helped kind of teach them, again, just through how they are observing you move through the world, of how to navigate this quality of self, how to really create that fine line, that balance between giving of love, giving of self, giving of energy, giving of light to others, and keeping enough in reserve for the self as well. This is something that they deeply cherish about you. Your presence, your having encountered you in this lifetime, it has been an immensely healing and transformative experience for this person. Even if you've only known them for a very short amount of time, it's like instant activation here with this sacred heart over the heart guardian. Something has really awakened and stirred within them. They also feel to be cherishing you for the fact that if they are going through this heart chakra activation and opening, and maybe feeling very kind of ungrounded at this point in time, that in some way you provide them stability, perspective, and a sense of anchoring into reality and the here and now, but also into that forward perspective of kind of what they too can become on the other side of this process of personal transformation. So this is something where they cherish the fact of how you are this living embodiment of love in a very unique manner, in a way that has been specifically fashioned through difficulties that you've been through this process of like the death and rebirth multiple times. You have phoenixed your way through different cycles in your life, and that is very apparent to this person. It's very inspirational to this person. They cherish the fact that you have encountered one another, not purely just for the romantic connotations, but also something where you're like a teacher to this person. You are that directional guardian. You are that guide. You are that living embodiment of kind of a point to strive toward, or something that really just instills in them confidence to flow and to surrender and to just move through kind of the tumultuousness and the change and the uncertainty, and the fear of kind of like freeing themselves from the captivity of wounding that may have caused them to be closed off to the idea of love or partnership or deep intimacy, or even to love of self for a period of time. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self and see, what does this person want to tell you? And they say, you showed up for me again and again. The wheel kept spinning. 3 lives, 3 worlds. So this is tying into the idea of destiny. They feel that you are almost heaven sent, that you are the answer to some kind of prayer, some part of themselves deep within that had maybe closed down to the idea of love and partnership beyond surface level, of like a deep heart-to-heart communication, something of a soul bond, where they had always kind of felt that this existed somewhere out there, and yet their experiences up to this point in time had proven to be quite contrary to that. It might have been a self-protective mechanism that made them somewhat shut down in the heart space, or kind of put on this armor of pessimism as a way to kind of protect the soft center within themselves. And it's a sense of, despite any kind of resistance, despite any sort of like tough exterior, any kind of thorny exterior, any kind of triggering that may have happened through this process of that heart chakra activation, through this awakening, through kind of their own process of moving into becoming the phoenix from the ashes, that there's a sense of, you intuitively just have known when to kind of infuse or send love in this person's direction, and when to give them space to kind of process things on their own. In their hour of need, even remotely, even energetically, even from afar, you've been a companion, you've been a guide, you've been an inspiration to this person. And this is something that they deeply appreciate, and again, really see you as somebody who's heaven sent. You are an answer to a prayer. You are this guiding light forward for them in many ways. They also say, I am fearless as I walk this path. As my love shines bright, my eternal loving spirit guides me. So confirmation there that you are almost like a spirit guide for this person, but in the flesh, in the physical world, you are leading them closer into the meaning of what self-love truly is. And from that place, more deeply into the meaning of reciprocating healthy and high vibrational love with another. You are really encouraging them to be very fearless in that process of dismantling the guard, the wall that they have put up around their heart, trusting in the flow of love, the current of love, of themselves being reimagined, refashioned into something different. You offer this person a lot of renewal, a sense of it's not too late, that maybe love is real, maybe it exists, maybe it's here, maybe it's now, maybe it's with you, that this is something that, you know, it's an awakening kind of energy. It's a revelation sort of energy. This feels like someone who's been shut down for a very long time, and you've awoken this ancient part of themselves that dares to kind of like believe in love again. Maybe for the first time in a while, it's a fresh kind of energy that they're stepping, you know, deeply outside of their comfort zone very slowly. It's something that a lot of triggering may be coming up, but you're encouraging them to almost take gradual steps toward a different way of being and even feeling about themselves first and foremost. And they also say, if I am to break, I will break into color. My rebirth, my fresh eyes. So confirmation there of that idea of like the phoenix from the ashes. You are helping this person to see life through the eyes of love, rather than from the eyes of fear, which have kept them very skeptical, holding on to wounds of the past, very guarded, very kind of shut down in the emotional space. You color their world with the fragrance of what love can be, something that is beyond what they could have imagined. It feels like something that almost it was a wish from long ago, and there may have been many possibilities, many people that they thought would kind of fit that criteria, only for them to be kind of disappointed time and again. You may have a very similar story, or they sense something like that within you, where there's just this hopefulness, there's this love that you have to give, and the ways in which that has been taken for granted, or siphoned and not returned, or just outright rejected, and you keep coming back more loving, more strong, more open after each of these experiences that in many cases, and at some point for this individual, it's like that heart turned to stone. Your heart instead remained open and vibrant, and so you are encouraging this individual to step out of that place of kind of like behind the self-protective fortress, hidden in kind of the walls of their own heart, and to step forth into the light of day to experience a new chapter and a new definition of what love can be. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Okay, we've got D, R, O V Q G I Y C P A and T. So let me actually move this a little bit closer. Hold it up for just a second so that you can see if you want to take a look at those. Maybe they spell something out if you want to screenshot them. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Iolite. So I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, and let's see, what does this person cherish most about you? Okay, we have miracles, ancient wisdom, setting boundaries, threshold protection, honor, Freya, warrior, your power, determination, Nematona, serenity, meditation, solitude, Peacekeeper, let go of the need to be right. And Spring, see your seeds grow. So this person really cherishes your individuality, your fearlessness in moving in a very specific direction, but not imposing your will on others, leading with the energy of peace, leading with the energy of love, leading with the energy of light, making changes, almost ripples very quietly just by you being you. This is something that they've recognized, something that they see kind of the battles that you may have faced, people or situations who may have tried to kind of rattle your cage, sort of knock you off your podium, really get you to sort of like dim your light in a particular manner. And there's an energy of you continue to move forward with love. You may even kind of wish love upon those sort of fighting with their own personal darkness and continuing to kind of project that out onto people. It's something where you have a level of compassion within you that is very rare. It's something that it feels like this person has not encountered before, how you are able to almost peaceably move your way through obstacles with sort of like a gentle touch versus being very aggressive, kind of like bulldozing your way through situations. It's something that they cherish this about you because it's teaching them a different side of a polarity to accomplishing goals and to sort of moving through the world from what they have known up to this point in time. it's bringing to mind the idea of almost kind of like a yin-yang dynamic in a certain way, that there's a softness and yet a determination about you, where rather than kind of like moving mountains, pushing your way through, chipping away or chiseling at these things, you almost just transcend that. You will yourself onto the other side of that, through kind of these unconventional methods, through kind of the roundabout approach. It's something where they see you as someone who in a major way kind of like, you move in silence, and yet by the time other people kind of like reach a certain place or plateau, you are already there. They see you as a trailblazer in a lot of ways, a very innovative energy, something where you're able to really kind of sense hidden opportunities in a certain way. They see you as somebody very connected with your higher self and with kind of the energies around you, the energies of people that you're dealing with. And you are able to really change the energies of a room. You're able to really lift up a vibration rather than having to like push your way through density. You raise that vibration and flow through it. It's something that they really appreciate that about you, because they may have seen you in difficult situations. It feels to be almost something like, if you've met certain people, like family members of this person, or like friends, or maybe this is somebody that knows you through like work in a certain, or something where it's like a social setting, and there's been kind of like grouchy or gruff people that you've had to deal with, people that are very hard to please, or just kind of sort of the dark cloud in the situation, the pessimism, and just kind of like rains on everyone's parade. It's almost like this person has seen you in action in a certain way, that you've made even the toughest critics smile. And this is something that they really, it's miraculous almost, just how, without meaning to, without in a manipulative way, but just you being you softens the heart of people around you. You dissolve boundaries. You dissolve kind of boundaries of perception as well. They cherish the fact that you open people's minds to a different way of being, a different way of doing, through this kind of like fearless authenticity, without really imposing your will on others. You just exist. You're just very comfortable in your skin, and with where you're headed, with who you are, in any kind of situation. You're not somebody who easily kind of folds under pressure. You're not somebody that's going to kind of water themselves down or dim their light just to make other people comfortable. And that this is something that there's a fearlessness to this. It's almost like this peaceful warrior kind of energy, is what this person really sees that you embody, that you hold this duality within yourself so beautifully. In some way you have mastered becoming the yin to your own yang. And it is from that place of balance that they see you are truly able to add to the measure of, the existence of other people, of whatever it is that you touch. You bring forth balance. You bring forth equity, because you've created that within yourself. They see you as someone who has a lot of inner peace, or you have this very keen ability to like go to that place within yourself. You may be very calm under pressure, very level-headed, somebody who almost, in an environment of chaos, or in a circumstance of chaos, or when things are very heated or tense, that's when you thrive. Something really activates within you, and you are able to rise above situations. They value this about you, because they may have, again, like been in a circumstance where you were that way shower. You kind of like helped to sort of shift or change or pivot or kind of do some sort of disaster relief. Maybe even in some way, you do kind of like outreach work. Literally, you are helping to bring peace to places that have been really disturbed by certain events, or people who have been very disturbed by certain things. And that this individual has like seen you in action in that capacity, and they admire that about you. It feels that they personally have benefited. They've taken a cue from your playbook as far as how to do this. It's something that, it's a love reading, so romantically speaking, you also kind of like instill a sense of peace within them, that everything will be okay, because with you by their side, anything is possible. They see you as somebody who's, a companion who will fight with them through challenges, rather than someone who will just duck out when the going gets tough. That feels to be something that they really cherish. They see a lot of growth potential in this, because you're very kind of quick to come to the aid or of people that you care about, people in kind of their hour of need, but not in a sense of like over giving, but somebody who's almost like who's a problem solver, who just knows what a situation needs. There's a part of you that activates under pressure, that this person, again, is seen in action, and they really appreciate that. They cherish that about you. They feel very almost like protected in your presence. Even if you're very soft-spoken, it's like a calm and strong confidence that you exude, that may be very contrary to kind of a loud or a very sort of like extroverted aspect of this person. They see you as kind of like that perfect reflection, that perfect balance, that you're a little more introspective, you're a little more contemplative. When you speak, it matters. When you speak, it silences the room, and helps to simultaneously kind of shift the vibration. This is something where they see you're very quick to kind of move into situations to help and to give and to bring a place of peace, where others may sort of just kind of feed on those currents of chaos, be very much sort of tossed around or overwhelmed or very frightened by those circumstances. You're very fearless in sort of the moving forward as yourself and continuing to kind of like embody this light of peace, to be this peacemaker, but at the same time not to be somebody who's just quick to fold, quick to give in. You're very sort of attached to some kind of moral compass, some kind of basis of right and wrong, something where you're not going to feed into drama, but you're going to seek to kind of like rise above that. You inspire others toward like a higher mind in a certain way, which feels to be a breath of fresh air for this person, for like people that they've been dealing with, people that are in their environment currently. Maybe even that idea of family really came up. So this almost feels to be something like you're a very necessary ingredient into that family unit. You're that element that kind of cools hot tempers in a sense, and yet you bring this kind of like wave of potential. It's not like everything just gets kind of like still and dull when you're around. It's just almost you're able to really soothe. You have soothed the fires within this person on more than one occasion, it feels like. And at the same time made them very hopeful of a different way of being and doing and moving through the world. If this person is very kind of quick to engage in kind of drama, conflict, or combat in any number of ways, whether just kind of like fighting to make their mark in the world, or somebody who may be in circumstances where there's kind of like clashing opinions. They're very quick to kind of express their personal truth, get their point across, like at any cost. This may be somebody who's burned a lot of bridges because of that, because of this just like need to be right in some way. You represent, and you've shown them a different way of being, that there's the ability to get one's point across without having to be so brisk about it, without having to be so obtuse about it. And it's a sense of gratitude that they have, that in a certain way you kind of, they cherish the fact that you've led them to this door of peace that is possible within themselves, because you are that embodiment. You are that living example. You're that kind of like calm in what might be sort of the midst of a storm. When there are storms around, you are that calm in the center where others can then gravitate to kind of like come back to self, come back to home. This may be something that, has not always been the case for you. This may be something through kind of years of study and practice and self-mastery, maybe doing yet meditation, yoga, any kind of number of spiritual things or paths that you've cultivated this within yourself. And so this person, they're cherishing that they get to be a part of your life and a part of your journey, and to partake of this peace, and to be almost shown this living embodiment or example. Or maybe this is something where, you're teaching this person about these things. You're kind of showing them your way, and it's the relief that they have needed. That it's a miracle that they found you. That they kind of, you have found each other at just the right time when they needed you the most. In a lot of ways, this person's life, it feels like, has gotten a lot more calm and a lot more purpose driven since having encountered you, and that's something that they deeply cherish. You help to calm the storms within themselves, which is then rippling out into into other sort of dynamics that they have in their life as well. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self and see, what does this person want to tell you right now. And they say, through the seasons, our love grows. So that's a confirmation of that springtime energy right there. They see you as somebody where they can really conquer any challenge. The two of you have the ability to build a very successful partnership together. No matter what stage you are at in kind of your connection with one another, there's growth potential there. They see you as somebody that this could go on long into the future, that there's a lot to advance, there's a lot to develop, there's a lot still to be discovered within the dynamic between the two of you, and that you help to really sort of lead and inspire this person to discover a lot within themselves as well. And they also say, it was rough, like the hailing seas chained against this rock. Thunder cracks against my skin, testing me to find my inner strength. So this is that idea of, somebody who has had a lot of inner turbulence, a lot of inner conflict, a lot of kind of like unprocessed anger and sort of, resentment within themselves, maybe through, just who they are and how they've moved through the world, certain experiences, and a lot of frustration at not having their voice heard, not being recognized, not having their emotions really, sort of appreciated or responded to. And it's something where you have taught them self-restraint in a sense. You have freed them from kind of being very grounded in a rigid stance, in a particular way of moving and being in the world. It's something to where they almost feel that they can endure whatever challenges, especially the challenges within themselves, through this kind of complementary energy that you bring into their life, through this living example of a different way of being, that in many ways you represent this path of peace, and you are helping this individual to unchain themselves from kind of an energy of turmoil and resistance. And they also say, in this lifetime we are destined to be married, to be husband and wife. In every which way it is our eternal love. So definitely yin to the yang energy right there. They want to invest further with you. They want to do what they need to do to keep you as a part of their life, to move in closer to you. This gives the vibes of like power couple in a sense, that you hold a lot of these missing components, or are leading by example. You're that missing ingredient that really is adding to a lot of harmony that has been absent for quite some time in this person's life and their family dynamic, and how their interactions with you are sort of rippling out, and how they are moving through the world, how they are dealing with and interacting with other people. It's something where they see longevity. They feel that they can go through life's challenges with you by their side. And it's something that, again, they see this long-term growth potential through the seasons to come in their life. When they envision that kind of partner by their side, it is you that they imagine there with them. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Okay, so we've got C, P, B, U, W, N, O, F, T, H, Y, and E. So let me just hold those up for a minute if you want to take a better look at those or screenshot them. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Citrine. So I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, and let's see, what does this person cherish most about you? We have innovation, new creations, achievement, effort plus intention, storyteller, expression, witch, passion, Lord, take charge with authority, and medicine guardian, be open to healing information. So they cherish your artistic side, and this feels to apply to the artistry with which you have crafted and constructed a life for yourself, any kind of creative pursuits that you do, any kind of artistry, things you make with your hands. With this kind of music here, you know, maybe some of you are a singer or a songwriter or a writer. It feels to also be the creativity with which you express affection, with which you express love, with which you have found to kind of pick up the broken pieces in your own life and move into more of a sense of authenticity. This is something which they deeply cherish that about you. Aspects where you have really moved towards certain goals. You have not let obstacles stop you, but you've come up with kind of creative ways to use tools or maybe gifts or interests that you have to think outside of the box, to kind of build a very unconventional life for yourself, or to build abundance out of things that, you know, other people might assume is just kind of like a hobby or just an oddity, a peculiarity. It's almost like you've taken the uncommon, these kind of like separate pieces or parts, and you've crafted something into that that is lending to kind of like your sense of self-worth, your autonomy in the world. You may be somebody who's a business owner, or you're studying, you're kind of like, you know, working your 9 to 5, and you're also, you know, really kind of like taking steps to create something different for yourself, getting ready to kind of like break away from a certain tradition, a certain way of life, a certain kind of conventional lifestyle that, you know, you're doing what you can with what you have in front of you, to make the most out of your life experience in the here and now. This is something that you know, this person deeply cherishes that about you, because you encourage them to also think outside the box, to reimagine certain innate qualities or gifts within themselves that might have been overlooked, maybe things that they had been kind of shamed about, they had stuffed down, they had been told to just kind of reject or stuff it away in the shadow, that you know, that this wasn't anything that they could build a life with. It, you know, wasn't something that was popular, it wasn't something that would be well liked or well received, but in some way, however you kind of carry these unique traits within yourself, and you really bring those forth into your dominant personality, into how you're moving through the world and how people perceive you and receive you. It's an energy that is inspiring this individual to also do that as well. They see you as somebody with a very healing presence, a lot of kind of innate soul knowledge that you have, ancient wisdom, very much that you're here for a particular purpose, and that you've come into their life for a particular purpose, to almost heal a lack mentality within them in a certain way, and to really encourage and empower them to start to live their best life, to start to use what they have in front of them at this point in time, even if that's just something inside, and to turn that into purpose, into motivation, into some kind of substance that weaves a very unique kind of bridge from where they are currently to a horizon that maybe others in their life hadn't necessarily encouraged, hadn't seen this side of them and thought it was worth anything, hadn't really applauded this kind of otherness within them. So it's this idea of kind of marching to the beat of your own drum, being, again, very purpose driven, called to some kind of higher purpose, or really very self-aware of kind of gifts within, qualities within, and how to kind of like use these to create something different. There's an energy here of making the world around you a better place, and that you really have this keen understanding that starts from within. You in many ways are that change that you wish to experience. They see you as somebody who's very accepting of other people. You may be somebody who you kind of gravitate towards those that are sort of like outliers or the overlooked in some kind of capacity, that you're very inclusive. You seek to kind of make all feel welcome, or everybody feels very welcome in your presence. You may be somebody that has kind of like a wide variety of people that you interact with, a wide variety of interests, that you're not kind of judging based on appearances. That kind of the lost and the forgotten, those are your people in a certain way. Those are the people that, you acknowledge, you encourage, you may work with, people that are sort of going through very difficult times. You help to kind of inspire and motivate, and that this is something that this person really has experienced, that has benefited from that. They've observed that in some manner. They respect that about you. They cherish that about you. That you're kind of like, no one is forgotten in your presence. It's almost like you have formed some kind of community of people that otherwise would not have had a voice, that in some way how you live your life, how you move in your most authentic energy, it inspires others to do the same. You are a change maker. You are a way shower in a large capacity, and that this is something that this person also feels very, very inspired by that. They're seeing you as somebody that this can be kind of like, that you're very independent, that you don't necessarily need anyone, and so they cherish the fact that you want them in your life. That you feel, romantically speaking, that the two of you add to the measure of one another's existence, because they see you in this very like empowered energy. You're standing in your purpose. You're standing in your power. You've healed a lot of things about yourself, and they cherish the fact that by you looking at them so lovingly, it helps them to kind of like recognize a more healed or put together version of themselves, that otherwise it may be kind of a struggle to identify that with that. It's something that you're very encouraging. You almost, it's not like you're looking beyond the current state into only raw potential, but it's almost just, you can see further down the road of what's possible for this person. And you have a very unique way of kind of bringing that potential out in others, helping others to actualize that potential. They cherish that they have found somebody like you, and that it's not just, that you're functioning as like a mentor or a teacher in some way, but you're really teaching them through love, kind of a different way of what love can be like. You're helping them to kind of like recreate or write the story of what what romance can be. It's a depth and a nature of which it's beyond just kind of surface level passion or attraction here. That this is something that, this is a new energy where you really see this person. It's new for them anyway, as far as, what they've experienced by way of love and partnerships, that you see beyond the mask, you see beyond the illusion, you see beyond the life that they have become comfortable in. And it's almost like you're seeing to the core of this individual, that very primordial place of creative power, and you're nudging that, you're encouraging them to bring that out more into the light, to move beyond anything that they are very dissatisfied or that they have settled in, and to birth a different kind of future for themselves, to bring some of those kind of forgotten or parts of themselves that they have cast away, to kind of call that back in, to summon that back into their reality, to craft that into more of the wholeness of who they are. They feel very, very seen and very respected in your presence for all that they are and all that they have the potential to become, and that this is something that they deeply appreciate you for this. They deeply cherish this about you. You've brought a sense of magic into their life again. You're making kind of a process of healing, or even taking a chance on love again. Because for some of these individuals, they've been kind of closed down. They've been sort of like skeptical or guarded as far as love is concerned. And you've kind of burst into their life like magic, like something very, very otherworldly. And the way you move, it's different from what they've known of partnerships before. And that this really inspires them to kind of like open up to a reimagining of how love can exist, these different sort of layers, almost like this, this combination of like a lover and a best friend and a coach and a cheerleader and, a guide and a confidant and all these different things wrapped up into one, that you really kind of, through the living example, you've helped to activate this person, some kind of self-healing mechanism within the heart space. You have brought forth this, not just a theory that like the future can be rewritten, or the ideas of love and partnership, those can be reimagined in some way, but you are that living embodiment. You are that magic in their life that is actively and on a regular and daily basis helping them to start to think of love and think of partnership more with an energy of hopefulness of what it can be. You're really, they cherish you for helping them in a very kind and compassionate manner to use the wisdom that they have gained from other partnerships of the past that have fallen apart, to utilize that to construct something better, to become more loving rather than kind of like more closed off. So it's something where you really help them to kind of discover their voice or discover their power, even just by being in proximity to you. A lot of this energy, it's very contagious, to where they can't help but get excited and kind of start to dream again in ways that they may have been very shut down to before. And so that's one of the biggest kind of aspects that they really cherish about you, is the way that you've brought them back to life again, and you've helped them to kind of like dream and imagine something bigger for themselves, something beyond just what is possible in terms of the love and partnership between the two of you, but more importantly, to really look inside themselves and to see what more they can kind of make of this life. How can they sort of improve upon whatever they had kind of built for themselves up to this point in time? How can that be sort of transmuted into stepping more into alignment with kind of long-held goals and dreams, or actualizing more of their raw potential rather than just having that go dormant or sit very unattended within. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self and see what does this person want to tell you right now. And they say, you are not aware, but I've always been close by, making sure you are safe. So they feel very protective over you, very much that you are a rare individual, somebody who should be cherished. They see you as somebody who can stand on your own 2 feet. You're very independent, and yet at the same time, you awaken this very kind of empowered masculine energy within them, which is very purpose driven and yet also very protective. And it's something to where if you are in separation from this person, this can indicate that they are watching you from afar. They're really taking a cue from you. You're leading by example in this direction of stepping into one's authenticity. Anything that you're like creating, crafting, bringing out into the world, maybe even just a different kind of life that you have reimagined for yourself, that you are giving birth to on an active and regular basis, being that living embodiment and example. This is something where they're really taking note of that, and it's encouraging them to also kind of like step outside of the box, step outside of whatever sort of like mask or limitations they have been living under up to this point in time. They also say, I forgive myself for every day my eternal spirit is set free. So this really ties into the energy of compassion. You are helping to awaken this person at their heart space once again. You are helping them to move past perceived or actual failures, to kind of pick up the pieces as best they can, to take inventory, to take stock of unactualized potential within. Opportunities that can be created out of things that might otherwise have been overlooked or that they hadn't used up to this point in time. You're helping them to really want to rebuild in some way, or to build something greater for themselves. Even if they're very successful in a material sense, it almost feels that there's a part of them, there's part of this sort of soul energy that's been neglected, it's been quiet, it's been kind of shut out or pushed away in some manner. And you're reviving that within this person, you being that living embodiment of how you've collected these pieces of yourself, and you are using the hand that you have been dealt. You're playing that to your greatest advantage, and in a very imaginative way. It's really encouraging this person to kind of move out of an energy of regret, or feeling that they've missed opportunities or that it's too late to change. You're inspiring them to start to really be very innovative, to start to kind of imagine and get very creative with where they are in this current moment and what they envision for themselves in the future. They also say, lanterns shine brightly, casting all doubt aside. As worries wash away in the lake, the stars glisten for you in this peaceful space of eternity. So this is big energy right there. They are seeing you as somebody that they want to move on into the future with. This is tying into the idea of kind of bringing these dreams and these hopes down into the material reality. It's this idea of cleansing any sort of misunderstandings between you in the past, that you really inspire this person to start to recreate themselves in some manner, to bring balance and restoration to themselves, so that they can bring something forth to you. You awaken a lot of this untapped potential within them. You inspire them to step into that best version of self, so that they can walk with you as a companion into whatever that tomorrow is that the two of you decide to create with one another, or that they are hoping is possible between the two of you. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Okay, we've got R, X, L, I, O, Z, C, M, K, E, and F. So let me hold those up if you want to take a closer look or take a screenshot of those. So So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 4. You chose the Aqua Obsidian. So I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, and let's see, what does this person cherish most about you? Okay, we have hostilities, conflict, unrest, sacred action, decisive focus, Zechel, healing magic, restoration, Morgan, release, permission to rest, Water Guardian, connect with your emotions, and Summer, bask in joy and light. So this person cherishes that you are very true to yourself. You are very self-aware. You know how to manage your emotions. You have reached some level of mastery or a deep understanding in how to kind of self-soothe in sort of the fluctuation in your energies. You're very comfortable with sort of like setting healthy boundaries, not overcommitting yourself, not kind of overworking or pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion, which may be something that this person really struggles with. They see you and really appreciate the fact that you bring a lot of meaning and joy to their life as well. They almost feel very rejuvenated, exchanging energy with you, being in your presence, talking to you, being around you. Even if it's not directly interacting with one another, just seeing things that you put on social media, thinking about you, connecting with you energetically from afar, all of these things provide kind of this boost for them. It provides perspective in some way. It's something that they really cherish the fact that you are patient with them while they are navigating through some kind of period of darkness, some kind of process of awakening, maybe like a dark night of the soul that they are in right now, and that you have continued to almost like walk forward into your own abundance, that you have not dimmed your light or lowered your vibration to kind of match that frequency, but you are representing instead almost this beacon of possibility that this is a direction that they can move toward, that at any point in time they have the free will ability to free themselves from kind of the chains of this darkness, this process of kind of being very stuck and trapped within themselves. This is something that, you know, they really cherish the action steps that you've taken to say no to them. As paradoxical as that might sound, that it's almost like it's forced this person in some way to go inside. There may have been some kind of conflict that occurred between the two of you, and that you've almost like chosen yourself. You've chosen kind of your own energy. You've chosen that high vibration within you, rather than being kind of defeated or, you know, feeding into that negativity in some way. You've walked away from the situation, maybe just creating emotional distance. Maybe you've closed the door altogether to them for a period of time, and it's something that they really appreciate. That it's almost kind of, it's a boundary that it feels like nobody's really set with them before. They may be accustomed to kind of like attracting people where there's a lot of kind of like trauma bondings in circumstances and situations, people that really kind of like match that descended frequency within. And it may even be something that, you know, parts of you at one point in time resonated with them there, or at one point in time they were at a higher vibration and that's where you connected. But through kind of this period of them toppling into kind of their own unhealed shadow and maybe trying to bring you down into that element with them, and that you really have recognized your worth and kind of the price of this sort of high vibration that you had cultivated for yourself, and you're choosing to move toward that. You're choosing to move towards that light within. And yet at the same time, you are not afraid of your personal darkness. You're very comfortable in there. You're very self-aware of what that is, what your triggers are, whatever kind of like hostility or chaos has happened in this circumstance and situation. It's almost like you've used that experience as a source of healing for yourself. You may have disconnected from this person in order to go and heal, and that this is something that's very inspirational to them. It's almost something that they may not have ever thought to do before. They may have just kind of gone through their life sort of stumbling from resentment to resentment, always very conflict oriented, you know, being in like a place of dis-ease or unrest within themselves. And through the interactions with you and kind of your living example of sort of like striving for something more, choosing self over a willingness to kind of like participate in some kind of like chaos or drama, or to kind of like meet them at that lower vibrational level, that you instead have kind of shifted that focus. You've sort of like risen beyond that in a way. You've left them in their own darkness to kind of like deal with that in a certain manner, that it's almost like they cherish this in you, the fact that you've been willing to let them go. You've been willing to let them go with love. You know, you've embodied that kind of true face of what it means to love oneself, which is to look around and to recognize what is serving one's highest good versus what is kind of holding that back or diminishing that in some way. And that it's almost, you know, you've chosen to move forward from this situation, not with kind of like bitterness or anger or hostility, but you're really just kind of re-shifting that focus. You've redirected your attentions in a lot of ways to learning from this, to gathering and gleaning what within you is kind of responding to this triggering situation, what within you needs to be healed. You're using this experience with this person in a very proactive and constructive manner, and they appreciate that. For this example, this true embodiment of what might have just been a theory, the idea of like loving oneself, you have now just represented that change in motion. It's given this person a lot to think about, and it almost feels like an invaluable lesson, that finally they kind of like, they understand that through what might have been like a hard truth, a very difficult decision, and yet a very necessary decision in some manner, to where through whatever it is they're kind of like sitting in at this point in time, there's hope of kind of making this work for them, making this pain transmute into some kind of benefit, some kind of wisdom from which they can grow from. In some way, your choice to kind of turn in another direction and to look within, to self-examine rather than to continue to feed into any energies of dissonance that may have gone on between the two of you, it's inspiring this person to start to kind of like dig deeper than they have before, or to see a way to move through circumstances and situations such as this in a different kind of way, to be that source of healing for oneself, rather than kind of just like looking for a remedy externally, or ignoring the problem altogether and kind of repeating through the same kind of cycles and patterns. So they cherish you for kind of this tough lesson. It's like a tough love lesson, by you choosing yourself, you choosing your own kind of like peace and abundance and joy over whatever was kind of being brought to the table in this circumstance, or where the tables had kind of turned. It's sort of the situation had kind of deteriorated, rather than kind of moving out of an energy of just abandoning them. It's like you actually have chosen yourself. You're not just kind of like falling back into these same patterns and cycles elsewhere. It's like you've turned your back and moved away, but you've gone deep within to heal, and they are recognizing that, perhaps vibrationally, but it feels like something where they're able to kind of like see this demonstrated. It's hinted at. It just, energetically speaking, maybe they see photographs of you, or if they're still kind of interacting with you, it just, that process of healing and like what you've been doing, some kind of like a shutdown phase, a cocoon that you've gone into, the proof is embodied within you, and for that they really cherish this, that without words you have shown them the way in some manner, to truly raising their vibration, a path that is very necessary, where it's almost like the two of you have led one another to this place of deep healing, and it's an invaluable experience that others before them may not have, been willing to kind of go this far with them. Others before them others before you may have kind of, reacted in a very different manner, had kept, meeting them at that low vibration, and it just kept deteriorating and deteriorating to the point of, there's nothing really left to learn other than to just sort of like move in a different direction. But with this, it's almost like you've left their life with love in a certain way. You've taken your power back, and you have utilized that to sort of heal yourself in a certain capacity, to really prioritize peace and that high vibration within, rather than kind of like absorbing or taking on or living too long in sort of this energy of like inner conflict. Kind of like a warring energy with oneself that it feels like this person is currently in at this stage, or maybe is just something that has been kind of pervasive within them. So they cherish you for setting those boundaries, making a hard decision, moving in another direction, because you have taught them how to kind of do that for themselves. You have taught them that they must provide this for themselves, rather than kind of like seeking somebody else that is that answer and remedy. You are in your actions in an embodied way showing them how that is possible, and how they must do that within themselves also. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self and see what do they want to tell you right now. And they say, we are alone together. Everything I ever wanted is here in my arms, beating. So this is talking about, this darkness that this person is in, like a personal darkness, a dark night of the soul. They feel your energy as a companion with them through this process. Even in the silence that may exist between the two of you, they still feel your light. They still feel this process of, as you heal, it encourages them, even more deeply into that place of like activating some sort of self-healing mechanism within them as well. They also say, you are the embodiment of a goddess, God. This is the journey. This is my rebirth. So you really are a way shower for them. You are showing them how to kind of make sense out of both the light and shadow polarities within, to step into that higher self, to choose that higher vibration, to choose inner peace rather than continuing to feed into an energy of conflict and turmoil. This could definitely be like a twin flame situation here. They see you as their divine counterpart. and maybe having to disconnect or detach from a cycle of like running and chasing or any sort of toxicity that has gone on here. You have sparked some kind of awakening within this person, leaving them to sort of fend for themselves in their own sort of like personal darkness. That was very necessary for them to be able to sense that polarity from where they are, from what's kind of been created, to, you know, the other side of that coin, that higher vibration, that lighter vibration. It almost feels that you represent that. You are that light to them, and your actions of choosing yourself, choosing to heal, choosing to invest in balance for yourself, even at the expense of how deeply you care about this individual. It's something that's really inspiring them to also pick up those pieces within themselves and to keep choosing themselves over and over again. They also say, I will never forget how you touched my life. I had to pick myself up and reshape as this new me. So confirmation right there of the idea of picking up these pieces, these scattered pieces, these million little pieces inside of them, and putting these back together in a way that is more empowering. You have activated something within this person through kind of this descent into the shadow, as they are wandering around in this wasteland within them and not really sure kind of where to go, what to do with all of this. You know, beyond what has happened in this circumstance, it feels like they're having to confront a lot at this point in time, as far as like trends and patterns within themselves that may sort of like bring circumstances of opportunity down to this level. What within them is just kind of like radiating this lower density vibration as a primary expression of how they've been moving through the world. They're in a process of transformation, just as you have gone into some kind of cocoon to heal and put yourself back together. They also are kind of being instructed remotely, energetically speaking, on how to do that as well. So definite energy of like tied here together at a soul level, and through these difficulties, it's like they cherish you for being the one to show them the way through that living example to that place of kind of like peace and self-acceptance, with both kind of the light and the shadow polarities within self, to create like a restoration by bringing all of these disparate parts back together and accepting the fullness of that as who they are. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Okay, we've got D, P, N, M, L, I, X, Q, J, Z, S, and K. So let me hold these up for just a minute if you want to screenshot those or look at them for another minute. It's kind of a little closer up. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.